Hello, my little knockers, once more. It's time for... Yeah, Ed, I'm continuing with that intro.
All right.
I hope everyone is doing good and has had a lovely week so far. This is being recorded Friday, and we're going to release it Sunday, and I think that's the kind of way we're going to do these. We're going to try and record every Friday and try and release every Sunday, but you know us, that won't last for 5 ruddy minutes. Okay, now then, it's time for us to kick off with the segment that is media.
Oh, media. I've closed that Google Drive document you sent me, so it's a surprise to me.
Whoa! Round one is just about My Chemical Romance's new track, Foundations of Decay. Now, before those of you who historically know My Chemical Romance as a whiny emo band, they're still that, but there is quite a lot of nostalgia kicking around, and it's genuinely a really good track. And I'll tell you what, I didn't like My Chemical Romance back in the day. No. I always thought they were a bit too much for me.
Yeah.
Well, to be honest, in school, when everyone else was listening to them, I was still listening to Pink Floyd, Led Zeppelin and Deep Purple, because that's what my dad told me to listen to. What did you listen to in school, Ed?
I used to listen to, first proper band I used to listen to in middle school was probably Blur. High school, it was, as you said, you said Pink Floyd, Queen, Deftones, Rage Against the Machine, and System of a Down. Two of my favorite, favorite, I'd say current bands. I'm talking like not probably this century. But
the Link. That sort of new metal, sort of Linkin Park, Limp Bizkit, Papa Roach, things like that and System of a Down were very prominent as well for me. I don't know why I didn't get on with My Chemical Romance very much, but either way, their new track is genuinely quite good. It's called Foundations of Decay. Give it a go. Now, Ed, it's over to you for point number 2, which is the new Doctor Who. That was far too much rhyming.
Part 2, the new Doctor Who. Yes, new Doctor Who, Ncuti Gatwa, is great for me because I don't know who they are. And it's good. They're known for the Netflix series Sex Education. Never watched it. No. I was thinking I might go and watch it, but...
Yeah. Did you know that because Kate wrote it in the document?
No, I knew.
I
knew it
you
because
didn't know that?
Like the articles that came up straight away was like, Ncuti Gatwa from Sex Education. From what I've seen, he's quite. The character he plays is quite extravagant and very confident. But I believe that Russell T Davies knows how to pick a good doctor. And I'm very confident that this person will be able to fulfill that role. I think it's just the production and the writing that we've got to keep an eye out for. I'm all for it. I can't see any reason why they would be rubbish whatsoever. Because I've got no experience on what they've done. But it's nice.
Yeah,
it's a good.
Yeah,
one.
No, I know what you mean, and I assume that's exactly why you're going to stay away from Sex Education. Because what you wouldn't want to do is find out that that's absolutely shit and then have a bad view on him before you go in.
Yeah, I might watch some clips of it, but I'd rather... It'd be nice to go in without any prior experience. It's like all the ones are from 2005 onwards. Christopher Eccleston, seen what he did. David Tennant, seen what he did. Matt Smith, I didn't know of what he did, but I went back and watched what he did. So I knew that. Capaldi, obviously he was in the thick of it. And Jodie Whittaker, I knew from Attack the Block and Broadchurch. So, this time round, it's nice to just...
Refreshing.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice. Well, good stuff. And do you know vaguely when that's going to happen?
Towards the end of next year, I believe. I can't
a while then.
Yeah,
it's a while. Okay.
They've filmed the regeneration scene, but what they'll do is it'll cut to potentially shooting outwards Doctor. Now, that's the assumption right now, but that will be aired during the BBC's centenary celebrations at the end of this year. So
Gotcha.
we will see who the next Doctor is. But there's a lot of opinion out right now because next year is also the it's the Doctor Who's 60th anniversary. So they think something's going to happen. Now, a lot of opinion is that we'll see a regeneration of back into David Tennant for some reason.
Yes,
and then there's the possibility that they could have some specials. That's a rumor to be taken with a pinch of salt, but it could be interesting to relive it, the anniversary specials. But either way, I'm looking forward to what's coming.
Good. I do like Doctor Who when I watch it, but for some reason I never gravitate to watching it. Mm-hmm. So, for instance, if I was to go over to your house, which is happening very shortly, and we were to watch an episode or two, I'd thoroughly enjoy it. But it would never be on my list if I was going to watch something, probably because whenever I'm watching stuff, I just watch car crap. And of course, no one knows when this is going to happen, but the announcement that I'd be looking forward to in the media would be the new James Bond, of course. I can't wait to find out who that is.
Yeah.
And, there's loads of speculation about who it might be, and we're not going to go into those options because they're all probably wrong, as they usually are.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by the James Bond choice. I mean, one of the big choices for James Bond was... what's his blooming name? I've forgotten his name.
Is it... Idris Elba?
Idris Elba, that's the one. Yeah, that was a big one. At one point, people wanted him to be Doctor Who as well. So,
oh really?
Yeah.
Well, that's what happens when you're an amazing actor, isn't it? People want you in everything.
He's bloody brilliant.
Henry Cavill is also another want of some people. I absolutely love him,
including himself.
Also,
I believe he would like it, wouldn't he?
I mean, a lot of actors would, surely.
Yeah.
That brings us quite neatly onto our next point, which is the BAFTA Awards have happened. There's loads of stuff. There's even games and everything in there now. I didn't know they did that nowadays, but they are in there. And, you're probably already familiar with, It Takes Two being the multiplayer winner. Ratchet and Clank won a whole bunch of awards. But to be honest, the only one from the actual sort of TV sort of side I thought I would mention is the makeup and hair for The Witcher, along with visual effects as well, which I think is very, very well earned, because the Witcher series is very good. Season 2 not as good as the first. I think everyone unanimously agrees in that, but it's not bad by any means. Britney Spears keeps getting naked. The big question is she hurting her legacy?
Did she get naked at the BAFTAs? That was a really quick cut from one to the other.
Was it? Sorry.
Yeah. So about the
completely
BAFTAs,
unrelated.
Britney Spears
unrelated.
keeps getting naked.
Point number 3. Britney Spears keeps getting naked. Yeah, like every fucking month, pretty much. It feels like the shit newspapers are posting articles about how a new Instagram post is her naked with a couple of emojis covering sensitive parts. And of course, fans have now started asking: is she actually, hurting her legacy? Like, she built up this massive music career and everything. She's just got her own sort of responsibility back from the conservatorship and all that sort of stuff. And now she's just like, boom, get my tits.
That's it, because of that whole conservation thing that was it was a father, wasn't it? She is able to do what the fuck she wants, and whether she's hurting her legacy or not, I think it's now her choice, and she hasn't had that choice for a long time. Whether it's the right or wrong choice, the point is she can make her choice. Now, I just had a quick look at this because I didn't know much about it, but I scrolled down past the fucking Lad Bible, the Sun, and all that shit, and I found Rolling Stone. They did an article, and it just says, Britney Spears is free. Let her post her damn nudes. People feel very uncomfortable when women become the architects of how their own bodies are viewed, says Britney Spears. It says Britney Spears content creator Matt Bernstein. So, I get it. It could be hurting her legacy, but I mean, it's bringing attention to her. Whether it's the right or wrong approach, it's the approach that she wants, and she's entitled to do so.
Yeah, sorry. And just to be clear, I wasn't, when I said, is she hurting her legacy, I wasn't insinuating that I am against her posting nudes. She's a childhood crush of mine.
Yeah.
I mean, she's great, and she does still look great.
I bought Baby One More Time on single.
I think I've got from one of our charity videos. I think I've got a Britney Spears CD.
I think you
there.
might have, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's just the question that they raised in the Lad Bible, Daily Mirror, Sun sort of articles.
They jump right on it,
no,
don't
you're
they?
absolutely right. She's absolutely free to do whatever the fuck she wants, and I mean, we are big advocates of free speech here.
Yeah.
Now, moving on to... Oh, actually, I've just noticed that one article's missing that I put in here. And whilst we're talking about free speech, and this is media-related, obviously, Elon Musk recently bought out Twitter, or at least has put a lot of the legwork in to buy Twitter. They haven't done any document signing or anything yet. And he has said publicly now in some sort of news situation that he thinks that banning Donald Trump was absolutely wrong, and that free speech should be, available regardless of your stature and influence. Thus insinuating the first thing he's going to do when he does get Twitter is to unban Donald Trump and give him the account back. So, I mean, the thing is, and I literally just said the sentence, we are big advocates of free speech here, and we are. But when someone is drumming up crowds of people to storm the Capitol, I don't know, there has to be a better policing in stage, I think, for that sort of scenario. But I don't think just banning them and saying, look, actually, you're outright not allowed to make an account on our website anymore is the right way to do it.
I think there has to be the definition. So you have free speech, yes, but then you have hate speech, and is speech that can instigate violence. Things that trigger those boundaries outside of free speech, then there should be different. I actually had a long discussion with someone recently about people like J.K. Rowling and Graham Linehan, who have had this. Obviously, J.K. Rowling's still on Twitter, and people don't like what she says. But the point is, until it becomes a hate crime, she's entitled to say what she wants. Whether people might not like it. But then she gets the triggered response that she wants to try and prove a point. Unfortunately, people do get triggered by it and feel like they need to respond, whether they're offended by it directly or they think that that could be offensive. People need to. It's difficult to try and just ignore it. But it's free speech in the end of the day. Until it becomes a hate crime or any form of crime, it's still free speech.
Yeah, no, definitely. And of course, this is pretty much unique to Donald Trump, I would say, in this particular circumstance, because normally, of course, even though other prime ministers and presidents maybe, aren't the best figureheads that we've ever seen, they usually don't take to social media the same way that Donald Trump does. So even if they did have views, disagreed with things and stuff, they probably wouldn't just have a big temper tantrum on Twitter to generate that response. So I don't think I hope it's not something that we'll have to revisit again, but you never know.
It's not Twitter's responsibility to constrain the power he has upon politics.
No, not at all. No.
That's not for them to do. That is, whose is it? I don't know, but it's not fucking Twitter's. That's the problem.
No, and look, at the end of the day, if he was going to do a load of tweets and stuff leading up to the election to try and boost his ratings and get people on their side, that's absolutely fine. That's modern marketing, effectively. But, it's about, you get the idea, everyone. It's a bit shitty, but, we'll see how it goes. And I think I'm with Elon on this one. I think that free speech really does need to be free. And if there is an issue with what they're saying, then Ed is absolutely right. There needs to be some sort of hate speech legislation or an update in the rules, because, of course, at the moment, hate speech basically just means
Twitter.
If you're being
just means Twitter.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move it on. For some of you who have a Nintendo Switch, you'll know that they have released, well, was it last year? I think it was actually. They released the sort of super duper online pack in which you get N64 games and also Mega Drive games. And they have just released another game for the Mega Drive, and it's Echo the Dolphin.
Fucking hell.
I know. And the thing is, of course, they said they would release games every month or few months or whatever it may be. And I don't know how good they've been keeping on that. But I tell you what, one of the games that they wish they didn't put the effort into was probably Echo the Dolphin.
Fuck.
I know I know that there's a few people out there who really love this game. Trista Bites, I think.
That's nostalgia, though. Go play it. Fucking hell.
I hate it.
It's painful.
Yeah.
The last two I noticed that they released that I really liked. They released Sonic Spinball, which is great on a handheld. Fantastic idea for it. And
perfect, yeah.
And a Mega Drive game I've always loved, but it's fucking tough. But I believe it's the European version. There's a slight difference between the European and the Japanese version. But Dynamite Heady.
Okay.
Dynamite Heady it's really well done game.
Yeah.
The art style and everything for it. They're both worth looking. They're both worth checking out. But Echo the Dolphin can suck a fucking dick.
Yeah. Moving on, we've got Eurovision. Now, Eurovision actually aired last night for everyone listening or watching currently. But as mentioned earlier, we're recording this the day before on the Friday. So we know that Sam Ryder is the English sort of, insertion. I don't know really. I obviously know the structure of Eurovision. I know what happens. I know the sort of acts that you get on it. But I honestly don't really know much about the event. So I'm handing you over to our Eurovision correspondent, Ed. How are you?
You have to do that, don't you? So if Ree's listening to this, then she's probably going to rip into me because she's as far as I'm concerned, she's the Eurovision expert. Saz as well. Sazzle Shakes knows a fair bit. But I have listened to our entry, which is Sam Ryder. I was excited. I thought they were doing a cover of Babylon Zoo, but it's not. It's a completely different song called Spaceman. It's not too bad. I mean, bear in mind it's Eurovision, but I've heard worse on the radio.
Yeah.
I mean, he does look a bit like a hipster Simply Red, but it's. I think he's got potential. Now, the consensus we've got at the moment is people are expecting Ukraine to do very well. As people will know, when it comes to voting, voting can get quite political. It's down to people's allies. But I mean, over the years they've changed it now, so they still do the normal judges' votes, but now they have telephone voting as well to combine the two. But we're still expecting that. Although I have watched and listened to Ukraine's entry. I mean, visually it looked interesting because on their official music video they're walking around in what looks like knitted waistcoats and crocheted hats whilst rapping. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's my cup of tea. We do see some odd stuff in there, but
I think I know you better than you do with them. I know what you mean.
I do have a crocheted hat somewhere, actually.
You do, and what that fucking little space boy is, the sus man. That
the Among Us, the Among Us thing.
Among Us,
this is working well for an audio podcast.
So to Ed's right, there is a small knitted character.
A crewmate. So
it's red.
Yeah, lovely. I think we might. If it wasn't so political and people didn't hate this fucking country, I think we might be in with a chance. But I think we'll probably be in the bottom 5.
Okay, I was just about to say, for a bit of fun, where do you think we're going to come? Come on, and say a number.
All right. Okay, I'm trying to think. I can't remember how many entries there are. This is the problem.
There's about 20 in there.
How many entries are there? I can't fucking remember. So I think 40 countries are taking part in the contest.
Okay.
But I'm just going to say we're going to be, I don't know, I don't know. I think we're going to be. I think we're going to be in the. I'd say I think we're going to be in the bottom 10. That's all I'm going to go with.
Really?
Yeah.
For some reason,
more chance.
without knowing anything about any of the other contestants at all, I'm saying 12th. Okay, now, just finally, one thing as well. Ed, I don't know what your views on Michael Jackson?
Apologies. It's 25 countries. 25 countries in the final.
Oh, okay.
So I'm going to say that we are going to be 19th.
Okay, and I'm 12th. I don't know what your viewpoints are on Michael Jackson with regards to his history and legal past. Let's not get into that. Do you like his music?
Separate from anything else, I grew up liking his music. That's
Okay.
where I'm going to go with.
Did you ever watch any of his films?
I believe I did. Yeah, I think I watched Moonwalker once, but it was a long time ago. Yeah.
Did you ever watch a short film called Ghosts?
Don't think so, no.
It is fabulous. It's on YouTube. So those listening, go over to, if you're not watching, go over to YouTube and just search Michael Jackson Ghosts. Obviously the quality's a bit naff, but it's great. It's basically a long-ass music video. It's kind of a bit thriller-esque. There's, lots of dancing sound effects, but it's just so reeking of that era. There's loads of CG in it as well, which does nowadays look horrible. It's like a PS2 character got put into live film. But I should imagine back in the day, it was cutting edge. And it really is quite cool. And it's a bit of fun, really, at the end of the day. I'm not going to say it's going to blow your mind and become, you're going to get posters on your walls and shit like that. But I just thought it was a bit of fun. And it's weird, as a Michael Jackson fan, I had never seen it. So it was great to see some new, old footage.
I've just looked it up, and it does sound quite interesting. So start off, it's directed by Stan Winston, who everyone knows he's a prosthetic effects genius. He's done so much. I mean, he's very well known for Terminator, amongst many other things. Just narrowing down the Terminator is ridiculous. But he's worked with people like James Cameron and Steven Spielberg.
Wow. Michael Jackson.
Yeah, Terminator, Jurassic Park, Aliens, The Thing, all the way to Inspector Gadget. But it looks like the story for this Ghosts. It was written by Mark Garris. I don't know who that is. Michael Jackson and Stephen King. So, all right, yeah, it's interesting. Maybe
it's a bit of fun, guys. Maybe have a watch of that when you got a spare. I think it's about 40 minutes.
Yeah.
So that concludes media, everyone. I hope that was good for you. It was good for us as well. Moving on to the news now, Edward. Oh, a lovely bit of news. This is where we get serious, look each other in the eyes, and kiss our nipples. A man with a... No, you kiss my nipples. I'll kiss your nipples.
Sorry. All right.
Yeah. A man with a pig heart that he lived for a few months with a pig heart that had been transplanted into him. He has died now of an animal virus. So that's a bit. I mean, apart from that being incredibly sad news, I actually didn't know that was a possible thing that could happen. An animal organ keeping you alive like that. But also, I guess it's just one of those things about being sort of in the inception phase of, pig or even animal organs used within the human body, is that you need to look for these things. I'm sure they did a large amount of tests before just wanging a pig heart into him. But what's your views, Ed?
It's quite, it's an advance getting to that point where with an animal. I mean, it sounds like it's something that should have been done before. Has it never been done before?
It doesn't say he was the first man, so I assume it's been done before. And he was sorry, I'm gonna completely destroy this pronunciation, but it was a virus known as porcine cytomegalovirus. Is that porcine? 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 So I don't know if that's like a newly discovered thing or if it's a well-known thing and they just didn't pick up on the virus in the heart. But obviously, hearts go out to the family members.
How old was this? How old was this gentleman?
He was 57.
Wow. Okay, so
He was 57.
It sounds. Did they say, look, we've got this experimental thing, and he went, yeah, okay, go for it? I'm just wondering, is it just because they could they not find a donor, or it's intriguing to me what got to the point where they go, yeah, let's try a pig heart.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It doesn't say how he got into it.
Yeah.
I'll read you just a quick paragraph.
Okay.
In January, David Bennett, a handyman who suffered from heart failure, underwent a highly experimental surgery at the University of Maryland Medical Center in which doctors transplanted a genetically modified pig's heart into him. So it's still definitely in its beginnings phases because it's obviously highly experimental. But yeah, I mean, the advancement of technology and science is fabulous, but it's unfortunately one of the byproducts of, having these procedures and things like this, that these things happen.
Oh, Jesus. You know what? We're reading this, and the first article I found, I did a quick look. So I typed in David Bennett pig heart, and the first article comes up, Washington Post. The ethics of a second chance. Pig heart transplant recipient stabbed a man 7 times years ago. So, okay.
Not this guy.
Yes.
This guy's a murderer.
Apparently, well, I don't know. He said he stabbed the man 7 times. It didn't say I can't see if they said he died or not. But well, yeah. Well, there we go. So, the man being heralded as a medical pioneer, David Bennett Sr., was the same man who'd been convicted in 1988 of stabbing her younger brother 7 times, leaving him paralysed. Edward Shoemaker, the person the person that was stabbed, spent the next 19 years using a wheelchair before he had a stroke in 2005 and died 2 years later, 1 week before his 41st birthday. So,
what the fuck? Okay,
although yes, it's a medical first. It's come out that this man has stabbed the person 7 times, leaving them paralysed.
Okay, good. I'm glad that they put all that effort into someone worthwhile. Mind you, I guess if you're going to kill someone with a pig virus, it may as well be a murderer.
Not a murderer. It was just a stabberer.
A stabbist. I think. Okay, well, that took a turn. There we go, everyone. Live updates here on the Pocket Knockers.
I always wonder, people that worry that people think we actually plan this.
No, we make a fucking document with bullet points of headlines. We don't even look at them sometimes. My lovely partner Kate has been sourcing them for us as well, and she sourced this one. Deborah James, I'm sure you probably heard of her, Edward. She's been a lot in the news recently. Unfortunately, everyone, I don't know the history of Deborah James too much, but she had bowel cancer, and she she had a podcast called You, Me and the Sea. She had a book called Fuck You Cancer, and she has a blog called Bowel Babe. She recently just moved to palliative care. So that is effectively, end of life support. And it's a bit of a weird one. And the only reason why we mention it is because it's extremely well documented. Normally, people that suffer cancer, and, obviously that's probably one of the worst things that can happen. And as soon as you go to the doctors and they give you that sort of, spiel, it's probably one of the worst days of your life.
Cancer's a cunt.
It is. It's definitely the big C.
Yeah.
But, it's incredibly sad to, see someone who had such a pivotal stage. And without going into any personal issues too much, someone close to me has got cancer recently, and they said they looked up to Deborah James quite a lot. And was listening to their podcast and things like that as inspiration and hope. So it really makes you think about, these things can happen to anyone, and that an inspiration has been lost, or will be. But I mean, the thing is, she's left her mark, and I think it's important that these things that she's done will, they'll still be there. It's not like her whole legacy is disappearing. Quite the opposite. I think that her legacy is going to have a big imprint now for those suffering with cancer. Moving on, Prince Charles' speech about cost of living crisis whilst sat on a golden throne. Thank you, Prince Charles. I haven't actually seen this picture yet. I almost don't believe it, to be honest.
So yeah, how old's Queen Elizabeth now? 96, I believe. She's standing down on certain duties as Queen and delegating them to Charles. So there's a lovely picture of Charles sitting there in his regalia on a nice golden chair. On a slightly bigger golden chair next to him is a crown on a cushion to represent. Wouldn't it be nice if you just didn't have to turn up? You just have to put your hat on a cushion.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But no, to be fair to her, she's 96, so fair play.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's just a bit of. I mean, we don't want him to be sat on a bit of plastic garden furniture, but somewhere in the middle would have been nice.
This is monarchy for you.
We want high-end IKEA. That's what I mean.
This is the bloody monarchy for you. There's lots of I don't see the monarchy lasting much longer, if I'm honest. Especially with things that have gone on. I mean, if you look at bloody Harry, and then if you look at other worse people within the monarchy, the news articles have come up. I just think that there's too much going on. I'm not sure if they are what they should be anymore, and I don't know if many people want them anymore. The biggest thing everyone goes on about it is it's a boom for tourism in this country, and I'm sure it is.
Yeah, it's true.
But I'm sure they'll be happy enough going to see a listed building than.
That's also true. I think the thing is that, and the reason why I think that the monarchy aren't doing very well currently is because I'm sorry, I can't talk negatively about the monarchy because I have a Reliant scimitar with a Union Jack on the roof, and as we all know, Princess Anne had one, don't you know?
Flora's a massive monarchy expert. She'll probably be wearing a black armband the day Elizabeth dies. But
the thing is when the entire government and the way the country's run currently is to fuck everyone up that lives within it, you're designing a rebellion effectively, aren't you? And it's a really shit, because with all this bullshit and all this crap that's going on in the government currently, I fucking wish that the Queen was just to go, get out, just a power play somewhere, just for her to, or for her and her staff and everyone like that, put their heads together, just say, look, actually, this is fucking wrong, and our country's being destroyed by this.
They don't have the power to do that, though.
Have they been overruled now?
That's not within their power to do so. If anything, Parliament have the power to dismantle the monarchy. If anything,
really?
No, yeah, it's all very. It's very. What's the word? Not traditional. Well, I guess it is traditional in a way, but that's all the monarchy is really now. The point is she does not have that power to tell them to get out, because that's completely opposing democracy.
No, you're right, because people voted that person in, right? So she was just to go. I get that. Yeah.
But I know what you mean. Sometimes you go, just if they could just give them a sense check and go, no, not that cunt.
Well, why can't the Queen just make a Google Forms and ask people to...
that's exactly. Distribute
do a petition.
Distribute
do a petition.
It out.
And then if a majority say, fuck the modern government off, and put people in there that are actually going to help more people, then maybe that would be better. And sorry, just to clarify, I don't mean Corbyn for the many, not for the few. I just mean, make it equal across the board, Like a rich person pays more tax than a poor person, for instance. Right, let's move on. We got more politics, and we are going with Keir Starmer Beergate. Now, that's written in here. I believe Kate put it in there. What about you, Ed? Do you know anything about this? Can you fill us in?
I know bits about this. So, after Partygate, with Boris Johnson came along, then suddenly the newspapers went, hang on, Keir Starmer, he was at a work meeting and he was caught through some awful paparazzi camera of him stood there with a bottle of beer whilst other people were eating in an office.
Yeah.
And it seemed to be a big comparison play between Partygate at number 10 and what was happening with Keir Starmer in an office.
Okay.
Although they completely seem to have missed the comparison of, yes, he did that. It was still an entitled thing to do. Keir Starmer was, he was in between whatever work meetings he had, and yes, he might have eaten, and it's not illegal to have a beer. But then again, he didn't bring his fucking wife with him. Unlike Partygate, but it seems to be a big play against that. And now, apparently, new evidence has come to light where the police are able to take proceedings and investigate it. Okay. That is pretty much as where it goes. I believe Keir Starmer said, "Look, if I'm fined, I will step down as Labour Party leader." He's got to that point where he's that confident. But
I think I think what he may have said was, if you want to prosecute me, then prosecute Boris too. And if you prosecute Boris for what he did, then I will stand down.
Boris has been prosecuted for what he did.
Did he?
Yeah, he's been fined. Many members of the Conservative Party have been fined, but since then this came to light the day before the elections. It was really it was in the news around the time of the elections, and so he believes if he's going to be prosecuted on the same level that Boris Johnson will, he will hands up and say, okay, he's at fault, therefore he's not fit to be leader of the Labour Party. I'm not sure if anything's happened from that since, and by the time people hear this, something else might have been heard.
I get it. And, I think I read that in an article somewhere, but you know what it's like with these things. They always get cross-wired and all that sort of shit. Definitely not my fault. 700 roads in Cornwall getting a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit. So we're going slightly different here, and I'm going to try my hardest not to rant too much about this.
I can't wait for this. I'm just going to sit back.
So it says Cornwall, but for those of you who don't know, I live in Plymouth, which is as far south in England as you can go before you enter Cornwall. And we also have at least one large 20-mile-an-hour speed limit, which has just been enforced with average speed cameras. It was a 30, and there's a school that is off this road onto another road. So it's not directly on this road, it's off out of the way. And their argument was, because there's a school, it's a main road, and things like this, we're going to put a speed camera on it. You don't fucking pull the wool over my eyes, all right? I drive 2 times a day for the last 3 years on that road at 30 miles an hour. There's never been any car accidents, casualties, or anything, as far as I can see or tell. And it seems like an absolute money grab when, we're already being charged so much for the cost of living with bills and everything like that, not to mention taxes and everything. For them to, at the end of the tax year as well, so they want to try and fucking spend as much money as they can to make sure they get the budget for the following year, put up some average speed cameras, make it a 20, to try and get money. And there's actually a Facebook post from the company that put the cameras up, just bloating, basically, about how much money they've earned since the cameras have gone up. And it's horrendous. I think it's absolutely shit. There's absolutely no reason for it. And I know, look, there's some arguments. Like, okay, well, if it's a 20 now, go 20. Why are people getting caught still? And you're absolutely right. I obey speed limits. I will go the speed limit. If it's a 30, I'm going 30, even if it's around a mini roundabout. But I haven't been caught, and I probably won't be. I'm pretty good in that sort of scenario. I can almost hear it in the mail now coming through. But people have. People also argue that it's for fuel-saving measures because obviously you're going 10 miles an hour slower, thus you're using less fuel. It's great. Stop complaining. You're saving fuel on your journey. I beg to differ. If you're going 20 miles an hour in second gear rather than 30 in third gear, the fuel difference is going to be very negligible. Not only that, but the amount of resources and electricity consumed by the speed cameras really are going to negate any sort of saving, should there be any at all. I don't know why people are defending it. It's absolutely fucking nonsense. I do understand that it says, this article says 700 roads in Cornwall getting a 20 mile an hour speed limit. I understand that in Cornwall there are many tight lanes, things like this, that were 30s before. And we're talking about little roads that could be roads up to someone's driveway, you know, like little bits that aren't even roads for anyone apart from just a couple of people who live up that road. You know what I mean? So that 700 isn't just going to be massive main roads that were 60 mile an hour limits now down to 20. It makes it sound like it is. There's going to be loads of small branches and things like that that cover a majority. But the point
you're
is...
You're talking like urbanised roads, I guess. Is that what you're talking? Like the more narrow urbanised roads, like between main roads, these little the side roads or things like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a conversation with someone whilst I was learning to drive, and they were helping to teach me to drive, and they said, but I was doing 30, and they said, you can't do 30 down here, it's a 20. I said, no, it's a 30, it's no signs, and it's street lit. But I think it's heavily encouraged on those roads to do 20 anyway.
Okay.
I get it, I do, but also I see your side, but I don't think I give that much of a fuck enough. It's tricky.
Yeah, I know. And it's one of those things. If it's a 20 mile an hour speed limit, just go 20. Yeah, I get it. The fact of the matter is, even if you're in my position and you do drive on that road, twice a day, then it's really not going to make much difference to my journey time at the end of the day, going 20 instead of 30. It's not going to affect me at all. It's just the whole idea behind it and the fact that actually there's no casualties, accidents or anything, and they're wasting our tax money putting cameras up to then fine us for speeding on a road, which even if you were speeding on and have been for the last, 20, 40 years, 50, 100 years even, this road's an old road. Mind you, though, you'd probably found it quite hard 100 years ago to go over 20 miles an hour. But the point is that it's a complete money-making exercise, and it's against...
Putting cameras up's a bit much, yeah. That's I didn't even know you could do cameras on 20s, but I guess you can, but that's ridiculous.
Yeah. And we're not talking just, we're not talking just a normal flashy camera. We're talking there's, I think, at least 3... average speed cameras along the...
I hate average cameras. It's like fucking annoying.
Yeah. So it's a massive expense, and it's just costing... And look, it's a little road in Plymouth in which it's only going to pick up local residents and people that are on their way to and from work. Already paying tax. It's not like it's like a massive main road, people going to the city centre and, things like this. It's literally just the people, the loyal workers and residents of Plymouth being fucked.
Whilst it's absolute shit, it is, but where I am, and you've seen these before, rather than doing a 20 mile an hour limit on our streets, they keep them at 30s and then riddle them with fucking speed bumps. So you can't even do 30 anyway. You're doing about 15, 20. Get rid of the fucking speed bumps and make it a 20. I'd prefer that than having speed bumps, because most people I know who live around this area, the amount of times they have to change their fucking suspension on their cars because they're getting fucked over by the bumps.
And yet again, you're talking about world resources and things like this. You're absolutely right, Ed. The amount of wear you're putting on a car by going over a speed hump. And, I mean, if you were to go 30 over the speed humps, because that's what the law is, that's what the highway code says, then you're going to cause, especially, I mean, you'll probably do it successfully quite a few times, to be honest, before you cause any serious damage. But then when you do... What, you're going to write a letter to the council saying, look, you've ruined my car here?
Why do you think I've had to change my suspension? Why do you think my exhaust was hanging off? No, not because of Vectra, but because of the fucking speed bumps.
It's a combination. But my dad, famously, outside his shop here in Plymouth, they put speed humps on and he was dead against that. You guys think I'm a car guy. You should see my dad, youtube.com/tiresome. But he, when they first put speed humps outside his shop, he measured them. How high they were, because he was like, "This is like you're, these are really savage speed humps." He measured them, and they were higher than the legal height for a speed hump. So they had to then come along and shave them off.
Fair play.
Well, they are still there, but they made them lower.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a hollow victory there, but yeah, I mean. Yeah, speed humps are the absolute worst, I would say. At least in this average speed camera sort of scenario, you just literally go the speed limit, quit bitching. But it's just the idea behind it, you know what I mean?
Well, I know what you mean, especially during heavy traffic times. You're just going to be going in second all the fucking time. You won't bother going into third, and by doing that, you will increase your revs, and you're not going to help with fuel consumption whatsoever.
No.
So that's bollocks as well.
Exactly,
Yeah, unless there are reasons for it, like... life-saving reasons, then I don't see the fucking point.
Yeah, no, I fully get it. If there's like a sharp corner or something and there's people known to speed around there, of course, if there's a school directly on the road, you've got people pulling over and children running across when school's finished and stuff, definitely. Fuck it, make it a 5 for all I care. There's an absolute perfect reason for that. Like when you pass a horse, you go slowly and you go easily around it and you respect that. But when it's... Anyway, you get the idea. Moving on.
No, before we move on, just very quick one. So you're talking about these roads, because a lot of them you said they're like through roads, side roads, things like that you reckon.
Sorry, that's
making
speculation.
Too. That's speculation. Okay, because I was wondering if it's because too many people are making shortcuts, so they're trying to detract people from making shortcuts and stay on main roads.
No. It's just because that 700 roads in Cornwall getting a 20-mile-an-hour speed limit headline, I feel like a good 500 of those roads are just going to be little offshoots and things like this.
That's fine.
Actually
I'm fine with that. Yeah.
No. And don't forget, that's not 700 speed cameras, and like that's literally just them saying it's just a sign going down somewhere. Right. But
apologies.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Moving on, we're going on to our odds and sods. I love this bit. It's actually my favourite bit of the podcast. Don't worry, everyone. I know what you're thinking. There's no microwaving babies this time.
God,
but we are going to start off with a rather interesting question. What was... well, I'll tell you, it was my first porn experience, Ed. And I'm not going to... I'll tell you mine first, so you get the general idea and how we're going to format this question. We're not talking about the first time you anything to yourself. We're talking about when you last saw a boob in the media. Did you stumble across a mag in a bush? What sort of scenario was it? I will tell you mine. I was downloading, the golden age before LimeWire and iMesh and everything were, completely knocked to the side and made illegal, and you could just download stuff from a network. You could download films, clips, music, and most of it would be bullshit, but as long as you came wise to it, you'd end up with something relatively okay. And I, as many of you know, am a big James Bond fan. And there is a film called The Spy Who Loved Me. And in that film, there is a Russian spy called XXX. And I, as an innocent young boy, wanted a picture of XXX.
Fuck off.
So I did indeed go on LimeWire, put in XXX, and then downloaded pictures. At that point, I was greeted, "Oh, what the fuck is going on here? Oh, God. My eyes, Ed. They were ruined. Poor little Michael didn't know what was happening." And just to clarify, we're talking like I was maybe 7 or 8. So before I was even thinking about anything like that. Actually, probably more like 10. Either way, it wasn't a pleasant accident, a little happy accident. It was genuinely something that was fucking shit. Yeah, okay. You?
I'm finding it hard to think here. And the first thing that comes to mind is when I was quite little, I used to go to the barbers with my old man to get me haircut. And I remember sitting in a chair waiting whilst this much older gentleman was sat next to me reading The Sun. And he was spending a lot of time fixated on page 3. and of course you're there, like line of sight, trying not to look because you know it's something that you shouldn't be looking at.
Yeah. It's like a horror film, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and he's just there. It's like, I'm like, oh,
Just
just other way, please. Yeah, that's the first thing that comes to my head, definitely.
okay. Well,
Yeah.
that's a good one. That's a good one. Right now, I enjoyed that question. Actually, I'm glad. We're going to do a couple of would you rathers. We're going to kick it off with a would you rather have telekinesis, aka the ability to move things with your mind, or telepathy, the ability to read minds?
Fucking hell, telekinesis all day long. I
Yeah?
spent a lot of time around the age of 9, 10 staring at like pencils, trying to move them with my mind, and I should have been
like
doing
Matilda?
schoolwork. Yeah, Matilda was one of my favourite books as a kid. Before the film, Michael, because I'm old.
Like a bit of Roald Dahl?
I used
Your
Roald
twit?
Dahl. Loved Roald Dahl.
Yeah.
And
best.
he is the fucking best. But telekinesis, telepathy. I don't think I'd ever want. I'd like to assume that people think I'm brilliant.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I don't want to. I don't want to know that they actually think I'm a complete. Yeah, I just don't. No.
What about, though? Because this insinuates, obviously, telekinesis or telepathy. You're assuming that if you're in a crowded area, for instance, you just hear everyone around you.
Oh no,
But we're not saying that telekinesis, you don't just move every movable object that you walk past. So I feel like you can turn it on or off when you need to.
Yeah, you still would, but you'd still be intrigued. You'd be nosy. You'd go, what are they thinking right now? And you'd hone in on them, and then you'd go, you fucking cunt. And then they'd be like, would you stop reading my minds? It's rude. It's invasion of my privacy. And you'd start a massive argument.
No, you are right. Yeah, okay, telekinesis.
At least if I had telekinesis, I could push them out my fucking way.
Yeah, what would you do with it? What would be if you were to just get it? If I was to just send you a text now saying, "Oh yeah, you got telekinesis in it, mate."
Yeah.
What would be the first thing you would do?
The first thing I would do is
Would it be a mind wank?
I never thought of that. Oh wow! I could fucking
Get page 3 out.
I could tuck myself hands free.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. I could pinch each nipple at the same time. Fucking hell. Oh, wow.
You are good.
I wonder if I could gape myself as well.
And Flora at the same time.
Lie down. Don't worry. I've got this covered. Oh, fucking
And then
hell.
I'll have you covered.
Yeah, fucking hell.
So what would be, apart from that, what would be the first thing you would do?
Oh, I think I'd lie in bed and I'd open my fridge, pull the ginsters out, float it upstairs, unwrap it mid-float up the stairs, ready, and I'd just have my mouth open going, come to me.
Really?
Yeah. Fucking feed myself without moving. I'm not this weight for no reason. Fucking hell.
Yeah, right, yeah. I don't know what the first thing I would do with telekinesis would be. I guess as a sensory sort of thing, I've got gravel in my garden, and I feel like it would be quite cool to see if you could like move it left and right, you know, like just like a wave almost, or like Moses part the seas. I don't know, it'd just be like a sensory pretty cool thing to
Have you got no
experiment
food
with.
in the fridge? Fair enough.
Apart from that, what other good things would there be? How would you use it so you're now publicly known to have telekinesis.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
want
let's
to be
just say you
publicly
are.
known? Oh, okay.
Right.
Fair enough.
Let's just say you are.
Yeah.
And someone like, what would be a good way that you could help the planet and civilization with telekinesis?
I could be I could stand on 20-mile-an-hour roads slowing all the cars down.
I was thinking, depending on range and power, you could just go to Ukraine and just flip all the Russian tanks.
Oh, that'd be nice. Yeah. Just
because you could be like, as long as you could see it. Even maybe if you had some binoculars, even that would be like sniper telekinesis.
do I need to see it? I guess I would have to see it.
I guess so. I don't really know how it works.
What if I was to look at like a live satellite map of places on my computer? Would I be able to look at them and then just like make things happen?
Maybe we're getting into voodoo doll area. Yeah. Oh, there it is.
You're welcome.
There we are.
You're welcome. Oh.
And finally, the last question of the odds and sods, and concluding the Hot Pocket number 2 is: would you rather swim in a pool full of Nutella or a pool full of maple syrup?
Oh, I think I'm thinking here practicality because I'm a hairy man. I'm worried that maple syrup would tug at the hairs a bit more.
Yeah.
If
you're
try
right,
to...
and it would crystallise when you got out. If you let it dry, I mean, you'd be like a toffee apple.
Nutella's got all that fucking palm oil stuff in it to
smooth
it out. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. It's tasty.
Take that, Harambe.
I think. Although, if maple syrup's warm. No, I'd play it safe. I'd go for Nutella.
Yeah. And you don't want the Nutella to get cold, or else you just be like,
I think I'm warm enough for that. To keep it nice and soft. I'm good at keeping things soft.
I'm probably with you based on that technicality. I think I like the idea of maple syrup more, but in reality, it's the worst one. I like the idea of it kind of being all gloopy and quite texturally nice, whereas Nutella's more of just a paste. But yeah, you're right. The after effects in reality would be far worse.
Yeah,
and poor Canada as well. They would have none left. Everyone, thank you for listening. I hope that we've brought you up to speed on this week's news. Leave a comment down below, all that sort of stuff, and tune in on YouTube if you're listening. And hey, if you're on YouTube, don't forget, you can listen. We've got podcasts, and this week coming up, we have the Larcade series commencing. It's on the 18th, which is the Wednesday, and we are going to have gaming videos coming up. So keep an eye out for that on YouTube.
Because we don't have enough gaming video content out there.
I don't think there are many on the channel, are there? Oh, no, sorry, you meant on YouTube.
On YouTube.
Yeah, no, there's none. We're pioneers.
Yeah.
I mean, we've both done it before on separate channels.
Well, there we fucking go.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We will catch you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.